Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Crushing Land. Happy to be with you here today. And what I want to talk about with you today is something that I recently talked with a student about that was coming on board. And it's something that we've heard from others as well. So I decided to share it with each and every one of you. So whether you're watching this or listening to it, whatever it may be, just something to have in your mind and think about. And basically, what precipitated this conversation was that this person was reaching out because they went to an event that was being put on by, let's call it one of the big names in land investing. And when they were there, they went and they talked to one of the coaches or one of the salespeople or whatever it was, and they were having a conversation with them. And they said that they were shocked at what they were being told about that person and how they ran their business. And they looked at it and said, wow, I really don't feel like this is the right way to be doing this. And then they started looking around and they reached out to us. And basically, the piece of advice that they were given from that person is that they only are to do certain types of deals. Now, I want to be very clear with this. We only do certain types of deals. Obviously, they have to fit the parameters, right? They have to be profitable. They have to work out in certain different things. But that's not what this person was talking about when they were talking about only doing certain types of deals. They literally told them that unless that they could make X amount of money and assign the contract, not only would they not make they would make an offer on the property, but they wouldn't close on it. They would just let it go. And they said that they were letting go tons of contracts. In fact, the person that reached out to me sat there and said, well, if that's the case, then just give them to me. I'm happy to take them on. That's what they were ready to tell them, saying, well, we'll just take those deals on if that's something you're not willing to do. And this is the person that's actually teaching it, right? This is the person that's out there trying to help others. And this is what they are saying. Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars sitting there that they are just giving up. Why in their right mind would anybody do this? Well, it comes down to a few different things. One, it's just pure laziness. People have this set way that they want, and they basically want things to fit in this little tiny box. And unless things do, they just don't move forward and they're lazy with it. And so when you're sitting there and saying, oh, I can't do this strategy, then you let it go. That makes zero sense, right? Because you're leaving money on the table with a contract that you literally have in hand. You're sitting there with a contract signed by your seller. You have the ability to now make proceeds from it, but doesn't fit what you want to do. So you let it go. It's just pure laziness in that case. The other thing that comes into play for a lot of these people is they simply don't get educated, right? They're learning to do one limited aspect of a business. And so if it doesn't fit that aspect, then they sit there and they say, well, I don't really know how to take it to this level. I don't know how to do this with that property. I don't know how to do this next. And so they're just letting it go. So they're not getting the right education. And rather than going out there and getting educated, which would make more sense, they're leaving money on the table and they're letting these deals go. And when you think about it, I mean, it's not really a good business model on the final end when it comes to the bottom line, because obviously you're losing money, but it's also not good on the line of where you're buying it from, because if you're letting all these contracts go, that hurts your reputation with your sellers. Now, obviously, we don't close on everything that we put under contract, because we find out certain things as we go along with certain properties and it just doesn't work out. But we do close on the vast majority of them. So to sit there and say that you let a ton of them go because they don't fit your style, you're actually hurting your initial reputation with these sellers. And you may sit there and say, well, there's no way for people to find that out. And that's really not true. It is true to some extent, but if somebody complains, if they make a report about you, if they find your company and they leave a Google review or whatever, and other people search because of that, obviously the more that they see that, the more that that hurts you. And so, it's just not a good business practice in general. And that is a minor example of things that I have heard people say over the years. I've had people tell me straight out that they only want to do cash deals. They don't want to do any owner financing. And they don't really have a good reason for it, other than it just seems complicated. Or I don't want to have to deal with the monthly payments. And I'm like, Would you be happy with the monthly payments? Yeah, I'd be okay with it. But you don't want to do it. Why? Well, I'd rather just get the cash and not have to deal with it anymore. So you're not. It's again. It's either laziness or not getting educated in things that are hurting people here because they're only doing certain types of deals. I've had people over the years come over to me and say, "Well, I only deal with properties this size and up, acreage. I only deal with properties within these acreage, sizes of acres." Okay, why? Are you only focusing on subdividing? No, not at all. But what's the most of your business? Flipping. So most of your business is flipping, yeah? Why do you care if it's 3 acres and up? Well, then I just know that it's valuable. Do you really? I've had plenty of properties that are 3, 4, 5 acres that are garbage. Conversely, I've had properties that are a quarter acre that are worth tens of thousands, if not $100,000 because of the location. So if your model is flipping, then why do you care what the size is, right? Your focus should be on something else. Now, obviously, if your model would be subdividing, then you would need something larger. But this is where people make mistakes all the time. They get hung up on just these ideas of only certain types, and it makes absolutely no sense. So when it comes to your land investing business, when it comes to your investing business in general, when it comes to business in general, you don't want to put restraint on yourself for absolutely no reason. There is no reason for it. It comes down to two things. It comes down to your being lazy, or it comes down to you refusing to learn properly, refusing to get yourself educated on how to do these other things. If it's laziness, you need to break free from that, right? There's absolutely no reason. And a good motivator for that is looking at it and saying, especially like in that first example I gave, there's tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars of money sitting on the table waiting for you in those contracts that you're just letting go because you're being lazy. If it's educating yourself, then it's the same thing where you have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars of money sitting there in those contracts. Spend some of that money to get educated. And then from this point forward, you'll be profitable with those deals and all the other ones that come along after it. So it's very interesting to me having that conversation with that individual that they, as somebody that has never been involved in land investing, they are very smart when it comes to business. This person, right? They understood business, but they were never involved in land investing. Goes to an event put on by a land educator and speaks to one of the people that works directly for them and teaches for them, and looks back and says that just isn't adding up. That proves to you that it's not adding up, right? So again, break free from laziness, break free from being uneducated, learn these different tricks, learn these different methods, and you can guarantee that your bottom line will be going up substantially. You'll be doing more deals because of it. You'll be losing less because of it. You'll have a better running business. Everything across the board will be better just by taking those couple of steps. So hopefully that lesson that I've learned, that I was able to share with them, it also resonates with all of you. So thank you for joining us for this episode, and we'll catch you next week for another episode of Crushing Land.